Hello, this is Joshua for Frost Dragon Designs, and today I'd like to talk to you about my Cactus Cat hard enamel pin. This is design number 18 for my Cute Cat Pin Club. Every month, members of the club will receive a brand new cute cat pin that I've designed. If you join the club before May 22nd, 2023, the first pin you'll receive is the Cactus Cat. If you're interested in joining the club, there's a link in the description below. Now let's get into the design. So I'm using my base sleeping cat design for the Cactus Cat. I use this a lot. Usually it's black, it's green in this one. But it started off, the first time I created this was for the cat sleeping on an open book pin design. And then I've used it since on a cat sleeping on a laptop, a cat sleeping on a broken column. This is just a really fun, versatile base design. I can do a lot with it, and I really enjoy working with it. And every time I add a new sleeping cat pin to my collection, it adds just a little bit more continuity because you'll notice it's the same cat across a number of different designs. And there's just something about that consistency that I really enjoy. Now, the idea for this pin came from, a couple cats that I've known in my life that, their owners would say things like, "Oh, don't pet that one. He's a bit prickly," and, that sort of thing. I think we all know what that means. That means these aren't necessarily cats that are afraid of people, but they don't like being touched, and sometimes they will, scratch or bite. Not maliciously, but just to let you know, hey, I'm not really interested in being pet right now. So this is just the literal prickly cat. One of the challenges when I was working on this design was obviously going to be the spikes on the kitty. Partially figuring out how to make them look natural and balanced in how they're spaced, but I was also really concerned with how small they are, having them filled with that kind of cream-colored enamel. I think I had kind of come to terms with the fact that if my production partner had come back to me and said, "Hey, these areas are too small, we can't do this," I was just going to fill them in with metal, and I think that would have looked just fine. But they didn't say that. They took the design along with the other ones from that order, and when I got them physically in hand, they looked beautiful. They impressed me with their craftsmanship yet again. Having said that, my goal is never really to push the boundaries of what they're physically able to produce. I have to keep that in mind when I'm designing things, that smaller isn't always better, and more detail isn't always better either. I sometimes need to pull myself back from the let's cram as many details into this as I can, and really remind myself that these are small objects that are meant to be worn or displayed and looked at up close. So, having a bunch of details in something doesn't necessarily make it better. And designing with the production process in mind is to my benefit. After I had finished designing the cat, my attention turned to that terracotta pot that they are planted in or sleeping on top of. And I just started thinking that's kind of a big area of just flat color, which isn't really a problem for production, but visually it's not terribly interesting. My first thought was to try and add some sort of shadow or shading to that pot itself. I have mixed feelings about using shading colors on enamel pin designs because some elements would get them and not other elements, because if I add shading to everything, that adds lots of colors to designs. And so sometimes I'm okay with one aspect of a design having shading done through enamel color and others not. But some designs, it just looks weird when one part of it has shading and the rest of it is more flat color. So for this particular design, I ended up doing kind of a calcification type of look to the terracotta instead. This is something you'll see on real life pots if you have a lot of minerals in your water. Over the years, they'll build up from that water seeping through the pot itself and depositing the minerals onto the terracotta. I know a lot of people will scrub that off of their pots, but I like to think of it kind of as a patina, and I think it adds visual interest both on this pin and in real-life terracotta pots. So thank you so much for spending some time with me. I hope you enjoyed this pin. Please go ahead and like and subscribe, and I will have a new design for you next week. Thanks again, and have a great day.